Welcome to the first video tutorial for the Skyrim Creation Kit. Over the course of this 10-part series, you'll learn the basics of working with the kit as you follow along with designers from here at Bethesda to create a simple Skyrim level. To get us started with an intro to kit basics, here's level designer Joel Burgess.
So the first thing we need to do is just go to our Steam Games library, and you'll see up here that we actually want to go into Tools. Now you'll find the Creation Kit in here. This is where you'll install it. We've already installed here, so we're just going to launch from Play Game. Now Creation Kit will load up pretty quickly, and that's because there's no actual data in here. So the first thing we want to do is go to File, Data, and you'll get something that looks like this. Now the Skyrim.esm is our main master file. This is where all the different forms and objects from the base Skyrim game come. So we want to make sure that that one's loading. Now if you've already got a mod that you've been working on, you'll probably have a plugin file like this one we have, coolmod.esp. Now if that's where you want to save your changes while you're working, you can set that as the active file either by clicking here or by double right, not left, clicking with the mouse. But we want to start something new, so we're actually not going to load coolmod.esp. We just want to load Skyrim, and we'll make our plugin in a minute. Notice down here, this progress bar tells us how far along we are in loading up the ESM. Alright, now that the ESM is loaded, you'll notice a lot more data shows up in the screen. For instance, over here we have our object window. And the object window contains all the different folders and hierarchies where we're going to find actors, items, armor, monsters, sounds. Just about anything you can think of can be found through the object window. The object window also has a filter. For instance, if we want to find a kettle, we can type kettle up here, and then we can actually go down into the different categories and try and find a kettle. There's also a special category at the very bottom called All, and we can see that we've instantly found our kettle here. You can try different things. We can look for trolls, and you'll find all the trolls, troll abilities, books about trolls. We'll just leave it at kettle for now. We'll use that later. We also have the render window. The render window is the area where all 3D objects will appear. Right now it's empty because we don't actually have anything loaded. That's where we come into the cell view. The cell view shows us all the different world spaces we can look at. Right now we're just going to deal with the interiors. And it shows us all the different cells in that world space. Just for the time being, let's type in the first few letters of a cell, unowned, and you'll see unowned cell. We want to double click that and load it up. Now you'll notice right away that the render window now has some stuff in it. Also notice that the name on the title bar of the render window has changed. That lets us know which cell is loaded, which can come in handy sometimes. You'll also notice that the right-hand side has populated with several objects. This also has a filter. I can type in gen. It'll only show us the GEN kit room pieces. We're going to leave that blank for now so we can see all the objects in the cell. One of the first things you need to know how to do is use the camera. So just clicking into the render window, select any object. We'll just do that by clicking. Try scrolling your mouse wheel, and you'll see that you can zoom in and out this way. There's also a fine detail zoom, which is accomplished by holding down the V key and moving the mouse. And you notice that's a very small zoom by comparison with the mouse wheel. You're going to be using the mouse wheel most of the time. You can also click down on the mouse wheel and move the mouse around to pan. Also try rotating the camera. Notice that I've got this object in the center selected. See the faint red and green box around it? That's called the bounding box. And as I click around different objects, you'll see the bounding box selects all the objects I've selected. But for now, just click on the blue marker, hold down the Shift key, and move the mouse to rotate the camera around it. We've actually got that light bulb there selected right now. And so that's what our camera rotates around. If I were to click on this chest, we can make the camera rotate around that as well. Now notice here how I snapped my view to that chest really quickly. I'm zooming out, and what I'm doing now is hitting Shift plus F. And that's the focus camera hotkey. It's similar to hitting the C hotkey, except C cycles through various preset camera positions. Similarly, I can also hit the T key, and that will give me a top-down view. Bear in mind, once in a while, it's not uncommon for you to get lost, sort of like this. Your camera is out in the void, the empty space, and I can't really see or orient to anything. Now, if you have something selected, you can hit Shift F, C, or T, and it should snap the view back. But I don't have anything selected right now, so that's not working. So I can go down here into my cell view and double-click on any object in this list, and it'll snap the camera right back there. Another handy key for making things easier to see is M. And M stands for markers. And you'll see that this light bulb actor, this blue marker, and this little red X marker all disappear and come back as I toggle that button back and forth. You're going to use this a lot as you begin working with interior cells because often these markers make the space look pretty complicated because we need them for different pieces of logic. Let's go ahead and hide markers for the moment and click on the chest here at the back of the room. I'm going to hit Shift F again so I zoom in and just sort of get a comfortable camera angle that I like. Now notice how when my cursor is over the chest, the icon changes into that sort of four-way cross. That four-way arrow means that I can click and drag, and I'm going to move this object around on the horizontal plane. This is called translation, or moving the object. I can also move it on specific axes. If I hold down the X key, it'll move side to side. If I hold down the Y key, I can move it on the other axis horizontally. And notice that by default, it allows me to move across both those axes. So if I want to move it up and down, I'm going to press and hold Z, and the same thing, it moves up and down. Also, if you have something that's not on the floor and you want it to be, just hit F, and that will drop it down to the nearest collision surface. You can also use the arrow keys. The arrow keys don't do an axis-constrained translation, but they can be handy for moving things around quickly. And you can also move things up and down by holding Z and pressing up and down. Another common operation is rotating. To rotate, we simply press and hold the right mouse button and turn the mouse. Similarly, if you press and hold Z while rotating, you'll rotate around the Z-axis, hold X for the X-axis, and hold Y for the Y-axis. We're also able to scale objects, and that's accomplished by holding down the S key